Hey everyone, welcome back to In Your Prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Cam.
Last episode we talked about improving your social circle and improving social skills, right? And part of improving your social skills is how to have and maintain conversations. Okay, so we're going to go over some points today, how to improve your conversational skills and how to really open up to people. What to say, what to don't say, what to do, and how to act. All those come into play when you're having a conversation with somebody. So the first tip we're going to go over is how to greet somebody, right? How to greet somebody. Before you get into the deep conversations, before you get too far in a relationship with somebody, you have to greet them in the proper way. One of the ways is having good eye contact, right? When you greet someone, you look in their eyes. Not for too long, like we don't want to stare at someone's eyes like, hey, oh, nice to meet you. Like,
don't be that person. Don't do that.
But just have a focus in their eyes, like you're showing them some type of attention, you're aware of what's going on. If you're looking down or away, it makes the appearance like you don't even care about what they're saying. Or it gives off some type of appearance that you might be up to something or sneaky.
Yeah, just be friendly. Just have a friendly, open eye contact. Yeah.
Yeah, it shows openness about you, right? So have good eye contact. Second point we wanted to talk about conversational skills is having a good, solid, firm handshake, right? What does a good handshake show you, right? It shows confidence. If you have a strong, firm handshake, like I'll shake his hand. Nice to meet you, sir. Right? That's some type of grip you're working out.
Yo, I've been doing a lot of pull-ups.
Oh, yeah. You got to, when you're meeting people, you have to have that firm handshake.
Yeah, so don't do pull-ups just to greet someone, but still, a good handshake can help.
It's always recommended. But a strong handshake shows that you're confident in yourself and that you're a person who can be trusted. So always have a good handshake, right? And have an upbeat personality, right? Be friendly, be joyful. Say, hey, how's it going, guys, right? Like I said, we don't want you guys to go over the top, like extremes, because then it comes off unauthentic.
Yeah,
right?
Like you're trying too hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to give that off, right? Because then that can be repellent to meeting people. Because if someone thinks you're trying too hard, be like, okay, this guy's kind of, he's different.
He wants something from you.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
You don't ever want to come off that way.
So just have an upbeat attitude, be friendly, say nice things, compliment them. But like I said, keep it simple. Don't be over the top. I hope that helps. Point number one, having good conversational skills. Have an upbeat personality, right? Good eye contact, firm handshake. I hope this helps. But one thing I also want to go over is that you want to greet someone with a good smile, right? Having a warm smile makes people think, wow, this guy's friendly. I want to know exactly why he smiles so much. It builds a little bit of curiosity too, because a lot of communications is nonverbal. Like we're just going over this before that. If I come off you aggressive, it's going to show my demeanor, how I look, how I present myself, my body language, everything, right? So you want to have an open type of body language, which pretty much invites people in, like they want to talk to you. You want to feel like, oh, this guy I can go turn to for help or something. So having good body language is essential in conversation. So a good smile helps. Also, have yourself open, not like in their face or anything, but just, don't have your hands crossed or looking away or just like distracted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is basic. You might think it's oh, no duh, but a lot of this stuff gets lost in translations. Some people get awkward. You don't know what to do. They have conversations and they go home and realize, oh, how did that go? They're nervous. But a lot of these things can be worked on. You just have to be aware of them. So I hope that helps. That in conversations you want to be open, you want to have to smile, be upbeat, you know what I mean? So all those comes into play when you're first greeting somebody. So I hope that helps, guys.
Okay, guys, so for point number 2 on how to have conversation, we thought of something more along the lines of what to say, because as he just brought up, the majority of our communication in life, it's not actually by words, it's actually by our sub-communications, how you feel around a person, how they're presenting with eye contact, their facial expressions, body language, voice tonality, all that plays a part subconsciously. It's stuff that you're not even aware of, okay? So let's focus on the things that we are aware of, the things that we can control. We can control facial expressions, body language, and so on and so forth. But a lot of the things that we get tripped up on in conversation is what to say.
Yes.
Especially at the beginning, because we're thinking of a million different things in our
What do I say? What sounds stupid?
When we meet a person, we get so nervous. So
yeah.
some things that might really help you is to just either ask questions because logic comes in the form of either questions or statements. So you don't want to go into interview mode where you're constantly asking a person a question. Imagine this scenario. You go up to a person at the bar. Hey, nice to meet you. What's your name? And then you introduce yourself. They introduce themselves. Right. I'm not meeting you at a bar. So I go up to a random stranger, meet them at the bar, right? What are you drinking? Oh, have you been here often? Oh, do you come here? And then I'm just going off into interview.
Yeah, is the guy the FBI?
Yeah, like
what?
The person's gonna try to be friendly, right? Because they're like, okay, stranger danger type thing. But at the same time, you're just repulsing that person. So don't go off and just asking them a tangent of questions. You could ask them maybe something simple, like if you go off and there's something on the TV at a bar or something like that. Ask them about that show. Have they ever seen that show? You can easily build off conversation just with that one topic, okay? Mm-hmm. Ask them about maybe something in the area, if they're familiar with the geography of the area, if they're familiar with the stores, if they're familiar with other restaurants, if they're familiar with different concerts that might be coming up, something like that. Something that engages them that has to do with the area, with the present moment, with something that they might know.
Because that's something you guys both have in common at the point in time. You guys can both relate to something.
Exactly.
The commonality is a great tool to bounce off that, like segue.
100%. Yeah, and you can also pretend like you don't know something. Like just play dumb. Pretend like you don't know where the local Walmart is. Pretend like you don't know where the local fast food restaurant is, right? and in a way, that's a great segue to open up conversation, because just with the way that they answer that question, you'll be able to tell, all right, this person probably doesn't have time for me. This person probably is busy. They don't want to speak. But if they're more receptive, then you could be like, okay, yeah, I sense that they have an open body language, just like we just spoke about. And then maybe you could dive deeper into a different conversation, or just segue into something else. That's all part of asking questions. The whole purpose of asking questions is to be able to open up the conversation to something new. Or, like I said, with statements, there was a person, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, Benjamin Disraeli, okay? He's known for several different things, but one of the biggest things he's known for is just the way that he got people to feel when he was around them. Mm-hmm. There was a woman who said she distinguished the way that she spoke with him versus the way that she spoke with someone else. This other person, I'm not sure who he is, but there's a reason for that. She said when she spoke with this other man, she felt like he was the most interesting person in the room. When she spoke to Benjamin Disraeli, he made her feel like she was the most interesting person in the room. So you see what that is? One of the ways he did that was just being able to ask her about her likes, her interests, things like that. Like start off with what the person might be interested in. Because people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, guys, we have to admit to ourselves, most people are egotistical. We love hearing about ourselves, you know what I mean?
To an extent, yeah.
Exactly.
It's not something we like to admit, but it is a great point in conversation. Ask the person about their hobbies, their interests, what things that they might like. Mm-hmm. And then instead of just constantly asking questions, you can go into what you like, right? What are your likes? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? See if that person can relate. And then ping pong off of that. That could segue into several different topics in conversation, to the point where you're just kind of like, whoa, oh.
Exactly.
Yeah, 30 minutes went by, I didn't even realize it, right? Because you're just talking about things that you're both interested in.
Exactly.
So, yeah, not just questions, but also statements too.
Like, for example, I like that watch. Where'd you get it from?
Oh yeah, I got this off of Amazon.
Amazon. I recently bought some of the Amazon too. Did you ever see those new type of hats? You know, with the spring on top.
Oh, I love those, man. Yeah. I just saw someone with that at the what I think it was a sporting event that I went to.
Sporting event? What kind of sporting event was it?
It was the football game, man.
Oh, what's your favorite team?
Oh, well, I'm a Giants fan.
Hey, see guys, how simple that was. See how we just did that? That's one example about common interests. You know, you build off of that. I talked about his watch, and he said Amazon, and I said, oh, I shop Amazon too. And we ping pong off each other, you know, what we said.
Pick key words.
And it happens, keywords, and it happens so naturally.
Mm-hmm. So point number 2, what to say in conversations, statements, questions. Ping off of that. You'll be surprised at how well the conversation flows.
Hey guys, for our third point, we're going to tell you how to end a conversation the most smoothest way as possible. Too many times we have a good conversation, it's flowing, going back and forth, but then it can get a little awkward at the end when we don't know how to end a conversation or when to end a conversation, right? Yeah. We all been there when a person's kind of like, yeah, so it's getting kind of late.
Awkward pause.
Cricket, wow. Is that snobby over there? You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to show you how to avoid that, right? One of the things I like to look forward not look forward to, but look forward to is that when they reply to me, it's kind of slower every time. There's more gaps. Like, usually respond like that, and every single time it gets a little slower and slower. You can tell they're losing type of energy, you know? Like, you know, and a conversation requires a sense of energy, a sense of spunk, you know? So when they start to lose that, starts to diminish a little bit, that's when it's time to reel it back in. So usually what I do is I say, hey, it was nice talking to you. We had a great conversation with you. Good hearing about what you had to say. You mind if I get your contact or number or whatever the case may be. Or it could be like, hey, you know what? It's been a good time, but I have to go. I got something I'm looking forward to, and that's when you end it. It's better that you end the conversation than them, because then they look forward to seeing you again. So they're not like thinking about, okay, last time I talked to this guy, he was a motor mouth, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's also showing that you have a life too. You're busy, you have a schedule. You know, you're not just completely people pleasing and just giving your all to them right away. You also have a life too, so you want to be able to maintain that boundary. So,
absolutely. Yeah, so that's good to do. And you know, there's nothing wrong with ending the conversation a little bit short than prolong it too long. I'd rather be shorter than longer, right?
100%.
And then you just do the same thing how you greet them. Greet them with a smile, firm handshake, go about your way, you know, get your contact information to them. If they want it, that's okay. If they don't, that's okay too. But the main point is you want to have a constructive conversation where it starts off good and ends good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to end on a high note. You don't want to leave the person thinking like, I don't necessarily know if I want to get in touch with this person again. And like, you want to leave the person kind of wanting more. It kind of allures them in a way. It gives them a sense of curiosity and imagination. I wonder what else there is to this guy or this girl. I wonder if I kept in conversation with them, how things would go. Like you want to spark that interest in them, all right? So you want to end on a high note, and kind of like what he said. One of the things I would say is, yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. I gotta run, but hey, if you want to keep in contact, or I'd love to keep in contact with you. Here's my information, and then you can get theirs as well. Here's my number. Let me get yours. Something simple as that. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You want to keep it as simple as possible because most conversations flow well that way. All right.
Yes.
And like he said, even if you cut it off quicker than expected, that's a good thing because you're still keeping up that imagination, that curiosity in their mind. All right.
Very good point.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, some tidbits about conversation. These go along with all the 3 points that we just brought up. So some tidbits as to how to tell when someone is disinterested in conversation or when someone is interested in conversation. And I'll bring up some personal examples from my past. Like if I'm ever at a venue and I'm trying to maybe get to know some people, meet some people in my life, one of the biggest things I look for is body language. We brought that up before. Be able to tell, like if you see two people talking, and I'm sure this has happened to you before, you ever take some time to just people watch, right? People love to do that. Just either sit on a bench or sit at a bar.
Just lurking in showers, watching people.
Yeah. Like a creep.
Maybe not like
which
that.
We don't promote in this channel, by the way.
We don't? Okay.
But at the same time, you want to be a good observer of people. That's one of the best ways to know when someone is open in conversation versus not. So there's been times where I could see two people talking. Let's say a man and a woman. I see the person talking to the other person, but I could see that one person is more engaged than the other. And the reason I say that is the person is maintaining eye contact with the person. They're happy, they're smiling, they have their cup in their hand, drinking, thinking that the conversation is going well, while the other person's like, yeah.
Yeah, so
where's that person that I know? Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta use the bathroom.
Friend called me, right?
Yeah.
That's the same excuse.
You can tell. And even this has happened to me. Like there's been times where I'm talking to a person, but I could see that their feet, like look at their feet, especially look at where their feet are pointed towards. Are they pointed towards you, or are they pointed towards the exit, or are they pointed towards just a different direction than you?
Yeah.
Because that body language, that sub-communication means way more than the words that they're saying. They might be saying something to you to appease the conversation, just to make light of it, and to just not be mean, because people don't want to come off mean the majority of the time. That has been my experience. They don't necessarily know how to say that, though. They don't necessarily know how to cut off the conversation. So as we've been talking about in this video, one of the biggest things is body language. Be able to tell when someone is open to speaking to you, because most of the time they will be facing you directly. Their
Yes.
eye contact will be on you. Their body language will be more facing you and open, not closed off, not like not pointed in a different direction and things like that. They will be focused more on you. So that's a good way to gauge whether or not the conversation is going well. If you see them looking elsewhere, you can see their voice is kind of shaky.
Yeah, kind of fidgety.
Yeah, look at their eyes.
distracted,
Yeah, look at all of those different things. And I know that's a lot to process in one conversation, but this is a skill, just like anything else,
Yeah.
and you'll gain experience over time. So be able to look for those things. If you sense that is happening, it's better to just cut off the conversation right then and there. Be like, hey, yeah, well, it was nice meeting you. Maybe the person is still interested, but maybe at the time they have something going on in their mind. Maybe they're just getting over some type of
they're
encounter.
just not into it.
Yeah, you never know what is going on. And this has also happened before as well. There's been a time where one of my friends had tried to go up and speak to a girl, right? But at the
Wasn't
time,
me.
if it was him, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. But let's say that he was trying to go talk to this girl, but at the time she had just lost her phone. She wasn't trying to have nothing, no conversation with nobody. You have to understand where people are coming from. If I just lost my phone, I'd be freaking out too, and I'd want to know where it's at. So that conversation obviously is not going to go well, right? From the first encounter, you can already tell, that just cut your losses and go. But then my second friend, another friend, it was the same girl. Different experience though, different encounter, different time, different venue, all this stuff. We ended up seeing this girl again at a different venue, and obviously she had her phone. She wasn't freaking out at the time. She was more calm. She was with her friends and everything. And yes, the conversation ended up going well between those two. Different experience, different encounter, just completely different situation. So just because a conversation does not go well with you in that time, doesn't necessarily put all of the
blame on you.
Blame on you, exactly. Yeah. See, that's why we have. Sometimes it might not have anything to do with you. It could just be the specific time. Like maybe there's something going on in that time that you're not aware of. Okay? So there are things outside of your control that can influence conversation. It's just really up to you to do your best.
To read it, to know when to say something. Because sometimes you can talk to someone, you don't clearly tell that you're distracted. You have a lot of your mind. They're kind of like, when I talk to one of my friends, you know what I'm saying, I say, hey man, are you okay? Is something wrong? Then later on they have something going on, because I can just read by the way they're reacting, how they're distracted. I know they have a lot on their mind. So a lot of stuff, like you said, like most communication is nonverbal. Be able to learn how to read people, be very observant. That always helps. Yeah.
In fact, there's books I would recommend on that. There's different books based on psychology that can help, but one of the biggest ones, he and I are both a fan of, Robert Greene's Laws of Human Nature. I'm telling you, this man isn't even a scientist. He's not a psychologist. He doesn't work in the mental health field, but it's through different books that he's read, different experiences that he's come to find these simple truths. And that is, I believe it's 90-something% of our communication is based on nonverbal, body language, eye contact, voice tonality. Well, the things that you're not noticing is what the brain is noticing subconsciously, okay? You'll pick up more on that than you will on words.
Exactly. I think the point he was making is that as a species, before we evolved, we didn't have language. You know what I mean? Right. So in order to survive, to communicate, we have these really strong facial expressions like eyes and stuff to communicate that there's danger, or I'm sad, or I'm happy. You know what I mean? Before we were able to speak, we just had facial expressions to communicate. So those are very strong in us naturally. So play on that. You know what I mean?
You know what? Another personal example. I've been told I'm very hard to read. I don't show like very strong emotions all of the time. Yeah, Mr. Enigma over here. You think you are James Bond? But so basically, with that knowledge, that's also to say that there are some people that are just harder to read. There's some people you cannot always blame yourself as to whether or not they're interested in you. There are just some factors that maybe you're just not as knowledgeable on just yet. Maybe that person is just kind of just hard to read in general, okay? And that's what kind of makes conversation so interesting. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what kind of conversation you'll have or where that conversation will go, what type of relationship can be built off of that experience. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there are things outside of our control, but we're going to focus on that which we can. And a lot of that, like we said, the words, asking good questions, making good statements, finding out people's likes, their interests, their hobbies, gaining more knowledge of sub communications, and knowing when to cut the conversation, knowing when to end it on a high note versus forcing it. Just because you like it a lot, maybe the other person likes it too, doesn't mean you should keep it going.
Yep.
I don't know. Use your best judgment on this, because I've been on dates where the dates have lasted hours.
Yes.
Hours, because it was flowing so well, right? And then it's almost like, oh no, you don't want that conversation to end. You have to. You gotta do your own thing. So
I need to eat now.
yeah.
I gotta get work in the morning.
I got some stuff to do. So use your best knowledge when it comes to conversation. These are just pointers. They're not hard and fast rules. These are pointers on what to do to improve conversation. But at the same time, once you gain more experience, you gain more skills, you'll be able to kind of dictate, okay, cut it off here, use this skill, so on and so forth, all right? Hope that helps.
Well, guys, it's time for us to wrap things up for today, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We love when you guys comment and like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week if we're in your prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Ken.
You guys have a good one.